Oh,
Yeah, what's
Jesus,
up?
I hate that person's voice for how they look. So I was just gonna stay quiet, but you and I don't know how in God's name Maxos is agreeing with you. I guess he's not very educated broadly.
Mm.
Are both wrong. So
Huh?
actually, including, so this, okay, let's start on the bases, right? Sex comes with phenotypes, right? We have sexual dimorphism, right?
Okay.
We agree, not a tenuous agreement. You agree, right?
There are
Yes.
two body
Okay.
plans. There's twinks and everybody else.
Okay. So we agree that there's sexual dimorphism. Now, it's harder to talk about, and it's possible that if an individual was to transition before puberty, that maybe they are on the same physical level as a woman. That's possible. But a lot of what we're dealing with right now, because of the timing, was not people who transitioned before puberty. A lot of what we're dealing with in sports right now is, I guess it depends on which sport, when the cutoff age tends to be for physical aptitude. But the point still stands. If you did not transition before puberty, there is the bones. What are the differences in the sexes in terms of phenotypes that would be relevant to sports? Do you guys know?
It's mostly
No.
hormonal.
No, that's not true. Actually, you're wrong.
I don't know, and I don't think I really care. In my
Steroids or hormones. That's what.
Yeah, but that's not the main difference between the sexes in terms of like phenotypes and stereotypical, like, so
Well,
men
well,
men
Are we including fucking as a competition?
I'm just ignoring you because you're obviously memeing.
Okay, hurry up because I want to see what you have to say. So kind of go through it a little quicker. No offense.
Well, let me look it up.
Because look, basically your hormones initiate fucking chemical reactions inside of your body, which might enhance muscles and all this kind of shit. I don't care. Like, this doesn't matter. In my personal opinion, men and women should be competing all the time together. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make a difference. I don't give a shit if there's
So there's still arguments about whether or not women should compete on the same sort of, right, like whether or not we should divide men and women in competitions for chess, which is like, you would imagine is like purely mind, right? Like it probably is purely mind that we're talking about. So men are able to develop more muscle. Men have better twitch reflexes. I'm trying to find a list.
Those are all instilled hormonally.
And so that's why I mentioned if you transition before puberty, then there is a big question mark as to whether or not there would be any competitive advantage for a male to female transition. But if you transition after puberty, there is no question. There is going to be a better aptitude for many sports. Now, there are a handful, two or three, I think, in the Olympics of sports that women can actually excel at over men, but it's like pretty rare.
So 2 years on hormone replacement therapy typically alters your body enough to where it is no longer an advantage.
That's not true.
It is.
It's not. So men actually, okay. So let's say that we, I don't know if you're biological female. Let's say that we removed all of my skin and muscles and we looked at my skeleton and we compared it to Bad Star's skeleton. Do you imagine that my skeleton is going to be taller or his skeleton is going to be taller?
So
How?
do you know how joints work between
That's not an
estrogen
answer.
and- So
one of the things that happens is that men will develop larger skeletal bodies, including their shoulders being wider and their hips being thinner. The attachments for the muscles will often have a little more space, which allows them to develop broader muscles. There's a lot of things that you don't lose on a hormone replacement therapy. Listen, what I meant to mention at the beginning of this is I don't want to make it a big argument, but in fact, there is a legitimate question, scientifically based, as to whether or not, basically for me, just to try to clarify it down. The question comes down to whether or not sports should be fair or sports should be inclusive. There are some
Inclusive.
people that feel that, yeah, see, and he, which is what I thought from the way he was reacting, he seems to be a proponent for inclusivity. For me, it feels really important. It feels like there's no sport if you don't have fairness. And this is kind of a matter of an opinion. It's something we're gonna have to hash out in society. Or maybe we can have sports for inclusion and sports for fairness. I don't know.
Listen,
So-
if you want to go ahead, sorry, Seven, go ahead.
The skeletal, like it's mostly hormonal. Like your skeleton is affected by your hormones. It is a permanent structure that has changed once a certain level of hormones have adjusted the body. Trans women typically do have larger bone structures if they haven't gone through, if they waited to transition through puberty, but that's not always the case.
Sure, you could have a man who was going to be quite short, for example, but his hips are always going to be thinner than if his sex just happened to have been different, right? Like female.
No, so it's
Yes,
again, it's
yes,
mostly
his hips are going to
hormonal.
be thinner,
No.
for example, but he might be a short man.
So the reliability of skeletal, like
Yes, there's
telling what-
variance. Yes, there's variation.
Right.
But that's why I
So-
said that same person, if he had happened to develop female in the womb, his hips would have definitely 100% been wider. That's why I specifically said that rather than just comparing him to any man. There's variance. That's what we're saying, right? Some men's hips are a little wider than other men's hips. Same with women. There is variance. That's why I said that specific man. But anyway, we don't have to make this this argument could go on for the rest of our lives. That's why I said I don't necessarily want to make it an argument, but it is a little incorrect to say that that girl should just sort of like eat shit and she just really sucks at sports or whatever. I know that wasn't your exact verbiage, but there is indeed an affront to fairness. For some, that doesn't matter as much as inclusivity, and that's absolutely fine. I want inclusivity too. I just think in sports, for me personally, and for many of the people I've spoken with, I wouldn't necessarily say a majority. In fact, I think inclusivity is the majority right now. But for many of us, fairness is like really important, or there's no sport.
which wouldn't matter because there are like cis women who go out their whole lives and have thicker bone densities than men, and then also compete in sports and do well in those sports.
So that's an interesting point. But again, variance is different than trends, right? So men are going to tend to be taller. Men are going to tend to have thinner hips.
Did you know
Men are
that-
going to tend to have broader spaces where their muscles attach to the bone. These things are going to be common for men. So while it
So-
may not be true for every single man ever, because there is variance, it is going to tend to be the case. So you're going to tend to see that being a problem for men who come into female sports because they transition and they're now female.
Right, the advantages of
I don't
So-
understand right. I don't understand that.
okay, but again, is it okay to just say again? It's again mostly hormonal. This is why they outlawed steroids in sports, because they are hormones. They are taking, in essence, testosterone and what's the other not progesterone. That's hold on, androgens.
So
in
I'm not
particular.
as familiar with hormones. It sounds like you are, but what I will say is hormones are much more accessible than bone structure. So I think that's why. Because obviously having a different skeletal height, having broader hips, these things are going to affect how you can be at a certain sport. Let's not pretend, let's not play
You
make believe
lose like
here.
2 to 3 inches on estrogen after 2 years, height-wise.
That'd be interesting to confirm.
It is confirmed. It's joints. Your joints are affected by testosterone. This is why men's torsos are typically longer, because you have a lot of joints in your spine, and each one has a percentage of thickness that is widened between those joints.
Listen, no
it's
matter.
like,
So you,
taller.
those things might be
You
true.
lose that when you
I'm gonna
go
Google
on
it to see if
estrogen.
it's true because I really don't believe 2 inches. I do think there probably is some bone mass
I
loss.
lost 2 inches.
That's fine. That doesn't mean it's common, right?
No, it is.
Okay, that's why I said I'm gonna Google it. But that's beside the fact that you still retain a lot of the structures that you developed as a man because of sexual dimorphism.
The ones that matter for sports typically
What are those?
muscle density, endurance is another one.
It definitely can depend on the sport. That's true.
Okay, so
What
I'm gonna pop in here and
Big
say
one
like this
for muscle
conversation could
density.
continue after, especially when it comes
You
to
can go ahead.
sports. But
That's
let's keep
fine.
going for now.
It's
Get a
like I
room.
said, it's an argument that can go on for the rest of time. Like it's a lot.
Get a room, you two.
Fairness.
Again, he is just pointing out to something that's so idiotic. We have unisex bathrooms all over the fucking planet, everywhere.
Oh my god, I know. The
He
trans
is
bathroom thing
the
makes me want to punch
dumbest-
a fucking brick wall. Holy shit.
Like this
And
idea.
then there's like this insinuation that trans women are fucking rapists.
When we know the majority of rapists are men.
Well, that's kind of part of what they're saying, that they're men looking for an excuse to go into the women's bathroom. Have you never had that conversation with any bigots?
They're worried
No,
that
do
men
you
will
think- do you
just
think-
say that they're girls to go into women's spaces.
Yes. Yeah. That's kind of the argument.
Which ironically, so are trans women are against that as well. We don't want posers like doing this. This isn't for them.
Every bathroom
Yeah,
I've
no.
ever been to had a stall, so I just don't see why it fucking matters which bathroom
Exactly.
you go
It's
into.
like
If the women's bathroom is fucking full, I go to the men's. Who the fuck cares? Now, if it's a man going to a woman's, there are some concerns that might be legitimate, but Jesus Christ, if they just have to go to the bathroom and they're not causing any problems, get the fuck over yourself. If they cause a problem, then that's assault, and you have to get to the police. Like, I don't fucking goddamn.
I've been going into women's bathrooms since I started transitioning and haven't had a single issue. Most women, even the ones that noticed early on, didn't care.
give a shit.
Yeah,
Yeah, but that's not what anyone's
Oh, come
talking
on.
about. People are talking about the bad actors, not the like
Right,
legitimate
but
trans
the
people.
bad actors are the ones that the trans individuals are also fighting against. So
I
we're
mean,
all
surely.
in
Again.
agreement there.
Again, but no one's bitching about, just men being rapists going into bathrooms and doing it. Like they're like
Yeah,
kind
the
of
problem is
pinpoint.
men. Sorry, the problem is men, and the common denominator here is men being assholes.
Exactly. And I'm sorry, but I don't view trans women as men. So it's like fuck off. Anyone who
thank
tries to
you.
make that
I
who
don't know.
makes that argument.
Sorry about that. I'm sorry. I'm not a bigot. Like,
Well,
what?
that's it. It's like there's a bunch of people out there who are like, no, like it's like, no, bro, just shut the fuck up. They are just live with it. Like, get the fuck out, get over yourself. Goddamn fucking humans are pathetic. God, see, every time, every aspect of this fucking society that we've built, there's always gonna be shit human. Ugh.
Around the other women, young little girls underage. Your spot.
In a
We spot.
Did he show
We
his
don't know. Is that
penis?
what you're saying?
Did he show his penis? My God.
So he said
It's so unbelievable that they would do, like, anyone would do that. Just walk in. Well, I mean, fuck. I've been in fucking my gym and fucking old men are
Well,
disgusting as fuck.
the problem is it is believable that a man might do that. That a man who is going to be exposing himself to women might pretend to be a woman or trans or whatever and go. That is believable. The problem is that then people are so dumb that they take that and they
Believe it
I
for
just
the
had the word. They
majority, right?
equivocate
Yeah.
equivocate that to trans women.
Yeah.
I guess like some kids steal candy from stores. I guess all kids shouldn't go to stores.
Exactly. That's a good example.
Now
So he's a
faces
sex
5 felony
offender.
counts of indescent exposure.
Hello, I'm Congressman
Jesus.
Well,
Marquez.
that's exactly what I was saying.
Trans Month
When
of
these people
Visibility is a
abuse
time to
these
recognize the strength-
concepts, call the police. That's what they are for.
Is something that I'm kind of mystified that you're kind of
Ooh.
not focusing on first. That we're going straight
Ooh,
to
he's doing a
controversy over
redirect.
bathrooms.
Okay.
Um,
Not bad.
So you know what? I think this interview is over.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think
Yeah,
this
there
interview
you
is
go.
over.
Good for him.
Let's
Yeah.
go. Who is
What-
that
the interview's
guy?
over.
Let that guy run for president.
Please.
I like that guy.
So we're gonna
That was good. Ooh.
I just
So
wanted to
then he
know.
doesn't look like a pussy,
came all this way
and then
to
he
know what-
ends it. You don't get to set up any
Well,
more
fair
loaded
question. I just wanted to know,
questions
what
like
is a
that.
woman?
I'm out. I don't get to look like the pussy. I don't get to look like I'm afraid of your question. I'm gonna answer your question, but no more after that. I like that.
You worry about kids
Wait,
walking
oh, okay, I was about to say, was that nudist in the background?
I raised two daughters. They're
What the
two of the most
fuck?
well-adjusted adults.
Is
They
that-
grew up around.
Can you walk
naked
around being a
people,
nudist
and,
like
There's
that?
been studies that
I
have shown
understand he's got
children
some
raised around
stuff wrapped around his
non-sexual
dingling,
nudity
but
actually have fewer hang-ups.
Is
when
he
they're
seriously
adults.
just wearing a cock
There's a lot of
sock?
things hanging right now
I think so.
during this conversation.
And I think
Can
he
anyone
likes
be any
this.
gender they want to be? Can a man become a woman if he wants to be?
You
I leave-
think
I mean,
he likes
people
this?
Why would he go
personal
and talk
choice.
to some guy with his
Live the life
dingling
they
out
want
like
to. I mean,
that?
I'm trying to live the life.
Why
I
would
want
he
to.
do it at all? He obviously
That's why
likes
I
it,
respect other
motherfucker.
people's
He likes
rights
it.
and
He
choose
likes.
what they
He
wanna
likes
do.
the idea of a
Why are you
dingling
asking
near
a gay
him.
man as
That's because I personally think this man is probably a chaser of some sort.
I don't like
God.
this person's shirt. I want to take their shirt out back and shoot it.
Did you- Okay.
to what it means to be a woman?
Why did they
If you're
cross
asking
out
women
sleep?
What it means to be a woman,
It's
especially
so
trans women,
dumb. Everything about the entire
Oh.
shirt is dumb,
I'm
and I
asking all
love
kinds of-
Halloween.
Can anyone have an opinion about it?
Only people who are women. Gay men don't know nothing about what it means to be a woman.
Have you told gay men here in
Wait
San
a-
Francisco that they're not
Maybe
allowed to
like
talk about
the
this?
2-second thought process that happened into making that shirt was like, well, you don't sleep on Halloween because you're having too much fun or something like that.
Yeah,
What were you
no
gonna say,
sleep
Maxos?
till Halloween.
What were you gonna say, Maxos?
I know what it's like to be a woman as a gay man. I mean, I'm gay. Hold on, then I don't.
Well, yeah, you're gay. That's the problem.
Maxos, you're such a troll.
Clarify.
But I have to
Clarify.
sound
That's
like I
all
turn
he's
around and say
just
what a gay
gay.
man
Leave
is
him
allowed
alone.
to
He's a
be.
gentle soul.
So you're saying